Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick. I'm super excited to announce an expansion of my blog into a resource center simply called Microsoft 365 Docs. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I have a lot of content on the blog that is really more how-to, technical deep dives, things like that really shouldn't be suited for a blog itself because they need to be updated frequently. There's lots of changes for Microsoft, and you need a way to have proper change control with these documents as well. So the platform that I'm using here is the same one if you're familiar with the documentation tool that CIPP uses, but effectively it's got a GitHub backend there so we can effectively push out these versions of documents and I can let you guys know when there's been changes. The other cool part here is I think there's a lot of content that I've made over the years that isn't necessarily readily surfaced on the blog or you may not even know about. Some of the things like my vendor integration documents, vendors like Paxate and Huntress and ITglue. I've written a lot of content there for the integrations, as well as some more of the updated information like me mapping the security baselines to CIS controls for Microsoft. And then some of your classic fan favorites of my site like the GoDaddy defederating doc as well too. That's another one I need to constantly keep updating because of PowerShell changes, those types of things, which I actually have recently done, so check that out as part of the site as well. You can sign up on that site for any updates as far as email communication goes. I can let you know when I'm publishing new content for that how-to material, as well as updating and kind of a summarized version control of anything I've updated over the past month or past quarter, just so I'm not blasting you with spam as well, just with every single update or text edit that I make. So let's actually pivot into that platform just right now so I can give you a quick tutorial of everything that I built.
Okay guys, you can get to the site by going to docs.Tminus365.com. This welcome page just kind of gives you an overview of each section and what each section is all about, just so you have some context. I might update that over time or just simply add more sections as I keep expanding here with the content. But you have basic capabilities such as turning on dark mode if you want to have this in dark mode or in the light mode here. And then down below, I like to sign up for the monthly updates or quarterly updates as I'll send out. Again, I'm not trying to spam you here, just want to keep everybody in the loop as far as any summarized information of the changes that have been made or additions I've made to the site. And then over on the right hand side, you'll see each page has kind of everything partitioned down based off of the header information. So it's easy to kind of navigate and move into the different sections. Obviously with this page being so short, that's not a great example. But when we go into these other sections here, you can begin to see some more of the high level purpose and individual sections that really, has a lot of scrolling if you wanted to pop into some of these subsections. So the security section here is all my recommended security controls based off of CIS and the Scuba project from CISA. And I've publicized this in the past, but never been kind of in this consolidated view where you can see more of the tabular view of all the recommendations that are all linked. And then the individual controls as far as the security recommendations for each module, meaning Azure AD, Intune, SharePoint, etc. And then over on the right hand side for these, I have entire enablement material such as the policy definition, licensing considerations for the control, setup instructions, end user impact, and additionally some PowerShell scripts as well as some tutorial videos that either are sourced by me or some of the other creators online that I really like and follow as well. Like John Savell, for instance, is a really great resource as well too for a lot of Azure content, but he does a lot of Azure AD stuff as well, which is why I linked that in this particular section. So each of these, you can traverse through the suite offerings here, and you have the same formatting for each as far as all the policies in one spot, and then the individual controls mapped down here. And then under configurations, I do want to add to this over time, specifically for things like Intune, for instance, Intune configurations that you'd want to set up. But right now I've created a lot of content for GDAP, for instance, so I have a lot of those setup guides here and configuration steps. And then the fan favorite, GoDaddy, defederating GoDaddy, recently updated this as well. So you can have all that in one spot, and I'll keep this blog post up to date as well too. At the end of each page here, you do have the last modified timestamp. So regardless if I put that particular alert up at the top of the page, you always have it on the bottom here as far as when it was last updated. In the CIS control section, I have more of the premium level offering for the mappings that I've done in the matrix for CIS controls across all the Microsoft 365 suite offerings. And then down below, I have my vendor integration documents. So specifically like Pax 8 here, I have some integration docs about how you would automate the renewal notices for Microsoft NCE subscriptions. And this is showing you how to sync that with Synchro as far as Synchro's ticketing, but you could easily do this with any PSA tool, following the similar steps here, just using a different API on the PSA side. And then I show you how to use things like the APIs within Power Automate. That's a very consistent theme here, just so you can create automations within your own ecosystem. Similar is true with some of these other integrations, like Huntress is just the API, but other integrations like IT Glue, I'm showing you how to automate Microsoft documentation. And some of these are from previous GitHub projects that I've made, but essentially it's automation flows to populate data into these third-party tools, specifically a documentation tool. But I also show you how to do it and document Microsoft 365 environment within Synchro as well. So all these things are, just documents that I've had for a very long time. In some cases, like the Synchro stuff has been out for a couple years now. But I wanted to really give it in a central location here. And then the last feature I'll mention, just as we close out here on this section, is just the search capabilities. Get much better robust search here. So if you said defederating GoDaddy, you have not only a link to the documentation, but also all the subsections of that document that are linked here that you could go into, and it will easily take you right into that spot of the document. So just really good search there as far as everything that you might be looking for. And then you also have this lens capability, which is giving you the ability to ask more of a plain text question versus a specific search. And so you could say something like, how do I defederate GoDaddy? And from there, you get more of a summarized targeted answer that is related to the question, but then you also have these related questions that you could potentially link into, and then the answer is based on 9 sources. So specifically looking at that defederation doc or my GoDaddy section in general. So just another way that you can search to surface this information, and you might find that that might be more helpful than searching in my blog, for instance.
Okay guys, that's everything I had for you in today's video. Definitely comment below with the things you like about the Docs website or any improvement areas that we can make there. I'll definitely be updating it over time, and like I mentioned earlier, I do want this to be open source eventually, where you guys can basically open pull requests, create your own content in there, and at least update me when there's things out of date like screenshots, text, things like that as well, just so we have the most up-to-date content. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you next week.